It's not just begging for money. One woman actually had somebody get into a car with her and say, hey, drive me to the north end of town. Rockingham County law enforcement told me that they're processing the scene and then they'll know for certain what actually happened with the shooting. The threat here is really safety. If you look at the river, there's a bunch of water where grass usually is, so levels are pretty high. You can see here Arrington actually leaving the courthouse with cell phone video that I took after the hearing. The fire is out, but the air is still pretty thick with smoke. It's actually hard to breathe in too deeply. If you kind of look at my feet, you can see there's plenty of snow and ice. And I actually have a ruler with me, and we're going to kind of show you how deep the snow is. Be right behind me by the current municipal building. But the group says legally, City Council should have gone to the Planning Commission first. They are just blown away from all the support. Look, you can see candles, flowers. They want to expand the sidewalk here to 10 feet. There's this laptop which is mounted as opposed to a freehand laptop. That will make things a lot more efficient for officers.
Let's make history, baby! Let's go!
All right, as you can see, there's some excitement here. I'm joined by some of the students. Right, and they did have over 100 with this event, but they do want more, and I'm going to let you hold the goo for the rest of the show.
I'm like, no.
Really anything with wheat flour in it.
There's a lot of things with that too, if you think about it. So
there are, but you know, you make changes. I think it's just important. There's a line of law enforcement, so we have evidence collection, there's state police. Right now, they're all inside the gas station trying to process the scene right now. Now, there is no confirmation that it actually was a robbery. Rockingham County law enforcement told me that they're processing the scene and then they'll know for certain what actually happened with the shooting. Bob, people are happy to have the store open. If you actually take a look around, the parking lot's pretty full. A lot of people filling up with gas. There's actually a tractor that stopped to fill up. You can see here, they've had a lot of activity throughout the day because a lot of regulars are coming back. They did have memorials that line the front of the store. Those have been moved inside. You can see a few that are left over. Now, in addition to this, with this being such a familiar store, locals say that with that bright open sign, it really shows a familiar sign of comfort.
Dry River Store, how can I help you?
Paul Kim, Jay and Un's son, now manages the store.
It's nice to have it back open, and they can open it with a little bit more comfort knowing that the person that did this is behind bars.
As people pick up food or pump gas, they're happy to get back into a routine.
I'd come in and try different foods all the time. He'd make fun of me because of the stuff that I didn't like, the faces that I would make.
But Trevor Lambert says the memory of what happened to Jay and Un is still fresh. Posters line the checkout counter and walls supporting the Kim family.
The people that come in to not see Jay and Kim like they always had, it's going to be really difficult for just everybody to come in here, even the kids.
Paul Kim says his dad Jay is going through therapy at Centera RMH to learn to walk and talk again.
A few months down the road or a few years down the road, we'll see my dad, being normal as possible. Where you could say hi to him, hey, Mr. Kim, he'll be around, he'll wave at you.
As Jay works through a long recovery, Kim and store workers stock shelves and hope customers will come back.
Not change anything from the past, keep it the same.
Ain't nobody got a store like we do. Nobody's got a store like Dry River Store.
They do have increased security with cameras and more lights. Kim tells me he isn't worried about safety. Paul Kim says that he does feel safe. The sheriff's office has actually been driving by, patrolling this area more than before. Now, as far as the man charged in connection with the double shooting, Siobhan Arrington will be in court on capital murder charges on May 8th.
I'm not saying he does drugs. I'm not saying it at all. I have seen him from time to time do drugs. Who doesn't do drugs? My grandma's on drugs. Your aunt, your uncle, your cousins. Everybody's on drugs. Prescription drugs, that's fine, right? Smoke a little pot, you go to jail.
A father incensed over charges his son faces. The goal for police and people who have seen the cell phone video is to figure out what actually happened in this parking lot. Kip, a bystander, says 3 men were pulled over.
She pulled in behind him. I was like, thought it was just kind of odd, she didn't have no lights on or nothing.
Chief Stephen Reckart says a question arose involving narcotics possession. Reckart says there were drugs and paraphernalia in the car. Kip says one of the men ran off in cuffs, and then, and this is not caught on the cell phone video, the Moorfield police officer ran over part of Jason Russell's arm.
And I thought, oh my God, she killed him.
She tried to get in the vehicle and apprehend the fleeing suspect. And there were so many things going on at one time that she simply made a mistake.
Tyler Riggleman is still on the run, facing drug charges. Officers say he has a history of run-ins with police. Chief Reckart says the officer involved is on leave. That was planned before this incident.
She has an exemplary record. She is very aggressive and does a fine job, and I'm proud to have her with me.
And he wants the community to know this.
And the reason it's safe is because we work. And we work, you run into a lot of situations. If my officers sit around in the evening and did nothing, we wouldn't run into any problems.
The guy did actually run off with 2 bags of money, which you will see in just a minute in the surveillance footage that we exclusively obtained. You can see right now the bank is pretty empty. The police tape is removed. Somebody actually just went to an ATM, so pretty quiet, but earlier it was a completely different story.
I think it is kind of scary. It does make you kind of take for granted sometimes how uneventful our lives are.
Joanna Folt says she was driving back to work when she saw the bank had been robbed.
Bad things can happen no matter where you are. Today I actually feel safer than usual.
Officers and deputies searched the surrounding area, which included Folt's workplace.
The bank had already been robbed. I'd walked out back when I seen the commotion. There were 3 officers that just came in. They actually had their weapons drawn. They were ready to fire.
Luray police say this man walked up to a teller in Pioneer Bank and slid a note across the counter. The teller got the note, took money out of a drawer, and then she sounded the alarm.
A white male, approximately 5'10" to 5'11", 35 to 45 years old, blue t-shirt.
Bloodhounds searched the area for evidence the man may have left behind.
It appears that he has tape around each one of his fingers at the time. He may very well have removed that. But if anyone in the general area finds that, please don't touch it.
Officers spent hours at the scene, stopping people nearby to ask questions and talking with witnesses inside the bank.
Page County especially, it's very rare to see bank robberies. I know I worked in banking for several years, and it seems like most of the time the robberies happen along the interstates where there's an easy getaway.
The bank closed early for the day, and now the FBI and officers will follow up on tips. The guy left the bank, and police say that he went this way. They have been getting a lot of tips in. That's according to the assistant police chief.